my name is Kaushik. I'm a writer-director of the film The Guest. And so this film was initially, I started writing it in India, and I wanted to, and then by the time I had my filmmaking and our acting coach starting here, so I came here and I really wanted to make this film, and I had to adapt it to a Western version of it, and but then it's still the essence of the story sort of remained in. I come from a theater and an actor background, and this is probably my second film that I've ever made, and I'm very happy with the results. And the movie, the writing sort of started with a simple question of what does it feel like home? What feels like home? Is it the smell of rain from your house, or is it, what is it? That's the question that I started the movie with, and yeah, I'm happy with it.
Nice. I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie. The movie was well. What type of emotion reaction you wanted when you was creating a film? You wanted from your audience? You expected?
Yeah, I think I wanted, it's sort of a melancholic feel is what I was sort of going for and then was expecting. Again, this is a movie about like where we have a lot of things to blame. Oh, this is why I migrated from my place to here. This is why I left my country, or this is the reason that I don't want to go back to my country. But there are a lot of reasons. I want to make this as a positive view towards it. Like, well, I can get this. I can listen to the strong sense of music from back of my home. I can quickly start an easy conversation with somebody without explaining why it's culturally significant for us. So small things like that made a big difference, and that's what I wanted to capture, is the essence of home and the essence of culture that you leave behind when you come to US or move to any other country.
And where did you shoot the film?
So ironically, the film was shot in LA, but then nothing in that frame will resemble LA. And this is another thing, because when I explain about what I do here in the film industry in the city back to my parents, when I talk about US, the first picture that comes to their mind is the New York City skyline, and that's all they see. But then there's more to it. There's a lot of places which doesn't look like that, and there's more story into it, and that's what I wanted to capture with my film.
Wow. So you created a back home feeling in.
Yep.
Wow. And yes. So how did you go about funding your film?
So funding the film, the school was so helpful. We have a program called AOS where they fund 2 short films every year, and I'm so grateful that my script got selected to be a part of it. So the funding really wasn't a problem. The school was very supportive. The Lee Strasberg Theatre and Film Institute that I go to was supportive in all ways in helping us to make this film happen.
Cool, nice. And casting, how did that go for you?
Oh, that's one of the most important things in the film, because casting, I feel like if you do the job right of casting people, 80% of the job is sort of done, because then because they bring a lot of value to the script, to the film. They bring their own characteristic essence to the film, and then it adapts to, because when I first wrote it, it's not how I imagined it, and then eventually it's always like rewriting the film. Once the actors come on board, I had to adapt to what the actors bring the good, and make that more speak out in picture of the essence that they bring in. So casting, most of it was done from my school that I go to. So yeah, that was a lot of help too. In that way, the school again had a great resource of all the actors that were willing to volunteer and willing to audition for the movie.
Hi, my name is Selma Ducanovic, and I am at Cinema Village with Dawn, the director and writer of Mother of Color. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I've already seen your film, and I really loved it. I thought there were a lot of important themes. Talk a little bit, first of all, about the movie, what it's about, and then what inspired you to write it and direct it.
Yes, so Mother of Color is the story of a single mother of two who begins receiving messages from her ancestors just as she sets out to try to make it to this life-changing job interview with a local commissioner. The film tracks the realities of single motherhood, but it also talks about perhaps collective wounds and how we can heal to move forward and do the things that we need to do to make the world a better place.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of like obstacles and also opportunities, you filmed in Portland. Mm-hmm. Filming in the Pacific Northwest, what kind of obstacles did you have, but what opened up as filming in the Pacific Northwest?
Well, we filmed in the city of Portland where I live, and we were filmed during COVID, which is probably the number one obstacle because that just adds a whole layer of cost and time to any production. But it's because of where I live and because of the community we tried to create around the community, around the filming. I feel like we did have a lot of opportunity, beyond that obstacle of COVID, just because we had mostly women and non-binary folks be part of the crew, as well as, a lot of the cast you'll see is pretty diverse, which is unique in Portland. Maybe less so here in New York, but we just had so many people come together to make this project. It wasn't an easy or typical first feature film for me, in that there were many locations and many actors, and there's a really big scene that kind of happens in the middle of it. There's visual effects. So it was very ambitious, but people, because of the environment that we created and the story we were trying to tell, especially at this moment in time, we had a lot of support to be able to do it, and I'm really proud of what we made.
You should be. It was great. But talk to me about the fact of having such a diverse crew and cast, and also having it be, a lot of non-binary people and women. What do you think that brings to a production, especially, now when there's a lot of talk about more representation in the film industry?
There's a lot of talk, isn't there? But I don't know if there's a lot of change happening. The kind of things flare up for a little bit, and then it seems like if you look at the numbers, there hasn't actually been much change. So we want to be that beacon and say it is possible. For us, because of the typical demographic of what Portland looks like, it meant that we had to work harder to find people to fill certain slots or certain roles in the film. It also meant that in some cases we found people that were ready to move into a bigger role than maybe they had played in the past, and that in order to give them that chance, we had to provide support for them to do that. So when I say we, I mean me, as well as my two producers, Ashley Song and Tara Johnson-Menninger.
So when you say support, what do you mean specifically? Because obviously the film also deals with a main character who doesn't have a lot of resources and support.
Yes, so I had 3 director shadows who kind of followed me around on certain days and were able to observe what it was like to direct. And so that was, one thing that we did, where they weren't necessarily being, have an active role. They were more observing. But we had, I don't necessarily want to call out all the individuals to be like, this person was learning. But I'll say that, if they were new in that position, then we would set up meetings with a potential mentor. We would, provide additional, pay for additional time to meet with people that could, fill in any holes that they felt like they had in order to fill out the role. That's one example. We also had people that were part of this special program called the Pathways Program, who would be assigned a mentor on set in order to move up into a position they hadn't filled before. And then we would be then reimbursed for having hired them. It's a special program called the Pathways Program.
Is that a national program?
It's not. It's part of the Oregon Film Program.
That's really cool. you mentioned that this is your first feature film as a director. Is it your first film totally as a director? Did you do shorts? Like, talk to me about what you've done before.
Yes, I have made multiple shorts over the years, including my very first short from 2016 called Sister and the Brotherhood, which screened here and won Best Short Film. And I think I was nominated for Best Director as well that year. Yeah. So I'm returning to the festival this year.